Hi besties, what's up? My name is Makenzie and welcome to my channel and welcome to the first wrap up of 2025. So, I am going to be so real with you guys right now. January 2025 was not my friend. I had a mental breakdown, a depression stint that lasted all of January, and I did film a video. However, I don't know that you guys will ever see it because I did edit all of it and it was ready to upload, and literally most of the footage was corrupt in that video because it didn't transfer to my computer the right way, I guess. So you guys probably won't be seeing that. But I guess if you do want to see me read the first book that we're going to talk about in today's video, I will think about editing it. You guys just need to let me know. But in January, I only read 3 books. 2 of them were not on my physical TBR and one of them was. I have since, though, gotten one of the books in the mail that we are going to talk about, so I will be able to hold it up for you guys in this video. But with all that being said, let's just get into my January wrap-up. So the first book that I read this month, let me kind of give it a little scooch because I will put it right there. All right, we have a friend because he will not shut up, so I'm hoping that if I hold him and pet him, he will be quiet. First book I read this year that really did not start off the year right was Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry. So if you don't know, we are following our main character Noah, but it is in the POV of his mother. And pretty quickly on into the book, we find out that he is getting out of a 2-year rehab center for the for touching little girls inappropriately. And it is kind of a look into his mom's psyche and a look into how we should punish kids that hurt kids. And it went very deep. In fact, it literally ruined the rest of my week after I finished it. I was not really expecting what was in this book to be talked about in this book, which is stupid. I should have read the synopsis, but I don't think I realized the gravity of reading Noah's mom's POV and realizing that because he's a straight A student and because she doesn't want him to ruin his life, wants to handle this in the best way possible without getting authorities involved. But that obviously doesn't happen where he goes to a rehab center. But there are a lot of very hard conversations in this, and I really hate Noah's mom. That is the one constant thing that I will always say about this book is I hated Noah's mom, and she honestly didn't deserve to be a mom to Noah or her daughter. I think she was a terrible mom. I think that she really justified what Noah did, even though that is unjustifiable. And there was a lot of victim blaming in this book as well. She blamed the 6-year-old little girls that Noah hurt because it wasn't exclusively SA, where there was insertion of a specific genitalia. She did not feel like it was as big of a deal because he just touched them and played doctor with them, and it literally made me so angry. I cannot even express to you how triggered this book made me. And I'm going to be honest, I was going to rate this book 1 star. I ended up rating it 5 stars. And here is why. So at first when I got done with this book, I was like, how can Lucinda Berry think like this? I was very horrified. And this is the one book, the singular book in my whole life that I have had to look up reviews to figure out kind of my rating and my thoughts on the book. So as I was reading reviews, I actually did end up obviously stumbling upon Lucinda Berry's bio in her Goodreads, and I realized that she's actually a therapist, and I believe that she specifically deals with little kids that have been in traumatic situations. So after reading that, I felt much better because I was like, how can you get so seamlessly into the mind of this mother and write all this without thinking the same way that the character does? And after I read that, I think that she bases some of her books off of patients that she's heard of or helped in the past. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but one of the reviews I read was how can anybody like this book, because this is obviously how the author thinks. And in the comments, another person actually very kindly told them that Lucinda is obviously a therapist and this is not how she thinks. She is getting into the psyche and the mind of someone and how she thinks that they would think and how she knows that they would think because she's helped people like this before. This book is going to literally stick with me forever. It's very uncomfortable. If you think that you can handle the topics at hand, I would recommend, if you have a book club, I feel like this would be a really good book club discussion book. I will say it's very triggering. Please look up trigger warnings. And it was very hard for me too because there's the dichotomy of obviously what Noah did was horrendous and terrible and no one should ever do that. ever, but the punishments that are given out to these people in like jails and stuff like that, obviously when they're adults we don't bat an eyelash, but when they're 15, 16-year-old boys, it's like, oh, like that really should be happening to them. So I don't know, it's a very hard book to talk about, and I hope I'm doing okay at talking about it, but I really want to forget that I ever read this book, if I'm being honest with you guys. So we're gonna move on. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. I will never be reading another Lucinda Berry book again, because I do believe that a lot of her books touch on children and predators and pedophiles that touch and hurt children. So I'm not going to subject myself to any more of that. Honestly, reading that book has made me very nervous to read A Little Life, and I wanted to read The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Don't think that's gonna happen. And I also have I don't remember, it's the book that's like about, her name was Vanessa, and it comes out that like, yeah, I'll put the cover of the other book that I'm thinking of, but it follows a girl named Vanessa, and her teacher like grooms her. I think you all know what I'm talking about, but it has made me very nervous to possibly read those books, because I do think that they will literally ruin my life when I read them. But I don't know, I guess we'll see. The next book. This book is like, honestly, I cannot believe how much I love this book. I believe I read a quote over on Larry's Instagram. She posted about this book, and I was like, well, dang, now I need to read it. And I read this book so quick. And I read it all physically because there was no audiobook. Oh, for Saving Noah, sorry, I forgot to mention this while I was talking about Saving Noah, but I read that via Kindle Unlimited, and then I also listened to part of the audiobook on Spotify. So I immersion read it, and then I also did reread the then chapters that are in that book to, I don't know, I had to reread them to kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but to kind of get a better, fuller picture because of something that is like revealed at the end of the book. So, all right, hopefully the angle is like very slightly different or no different at all. Sorry, my camera overheated because I've been yapping too much. So the next book that I want to talk about, I actually heard about over on Larry's Instagram, bestie Larissa. I love her channel. I love her recommendations. She has really good recs. So I'd really recommend, if you are following me but not her, you should definitely go check her out. But I don't remember what quote it was from this book, but I was like, okay, download it on KU and read it right away. And I loved it so much that I am going to actually reread it this month and annotate it, because I did buy a copy of this. I did buy a copy of this book for myself for my birthday, and that is Insatiable by Lee Rivers. This is my new Roman Empire dark romance series. I love this book so much. If you saw the original 4.5 star rating, no you did not. I literally have not stopped thinking about these characters and this book since I finished it. I think this is a 6-star read. I think this is wonderful. I will say, at the beginning of the book, I did have a little bit of issues with like maybe the writing. I feel like me and the writing weren't jiving, but as soon as I got used to it, I was in it. So if you don't know, this book follows Stacy and Cade, and they have a very tumultuous relationship. And at the beginning, we don't really know why, but Cade basically hates Stacy, and this is about 2 years after they have broken up. So we get to see the original meet cute in this book that took place 6 years prior to the start of this book, and then when the book starts they have already been broken up for 2 years, but we don't exactly know what the reason is for this. But they are literally so drawn to each other. They are obsessed with each other. They are so in love with each other, but because of what Cade assumes that Stacy did to him, he really hates her. So this is toxic. That is the main thing that you need to know going into this. This is a very toxic relationship, and at points it is very hard to read, and it is a little bit angering. Some of the stuff that Cade does in this book really pisses me off, but we kind of figure out why he does some of the stuff that he does. Not that that makes it okay, but we do understand what he is going through that has led him up to this place in his life where he is just super jaded and stuff. I literally love this book. He's out the door. The cat is out. That may have seemed a little bit harsh, but oh my gosh, I'm so overstimulated today. I thought I would feel better after last night. I was horribly overstimulated last night as well. But anyways, this book will make you sick to your stomach. I'm not gonna lie, like, just thinking about this book literally breaks my heart so bad. But this book will break your heart a million times, put them back together just to rip the pieces apart again. And I loved it so much. I actually bought the other two. I did start the second one, but I'm gonna put a hold on that so I can reread this hopefully in February and annotate the living daylights out of this, because this is my new Roman Empire. This is my new favorite thing on the face of this planet. I'm so in love with this. So I'm gonna give you some comp titles. If you've read this book, let me know if you agree with me. But I would say if you want an adult Punk 57, because this does have bully romance in it, which I love bully romance. It is so great in my opinion. But anyways, an adult Punk 57 meets Magnolia Park, meets a little bit of Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I feel like Cade gives me major Baby Zade vibes. I don't know how to explain it to you, but he gives me major Baby Zane vibes. If you've read Haunting and Hunting Adeline and you read this book, let me know if you agree. But if you love those 3 books, I think you should really read this. I think you will be literally obsessed. I read it on KU. And you know it's good when I was literally so sad that I couldn't get the audiobook because all I wanted to do was read this, but I had other things that I needed to do that I couldn't get done while reading this. And oh, it broke my heart. But this book is so good. Once you pick it up, I would be hard pressed to believe that you are going to put it down. Bold statement from me, but it was so hard for me to put this book down. This consumed my mind, body, and soul while I was reading it. So I really love it. Obviously updating that to 6 stars. It is not 4.5 stars. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, like I said, oh, obsessed. Not only did my camera overheat, but it looks like my memory card is almost full. So let me hurry and go delete some footage off of this SD card, and then we will get into the 3rd and final book we read in January. Sorry, that is the final angle change of the video. Let's pray. I have about half of my battery left, so we'll see. But the 3rd and final book that I read, you guys might be a little bit surprised if you know the lore in between me and this book. But it came from 2024 to 2025 with me, and I was this close to DNFing it again. I think I've probably DNF'd this book 3 or 4 times before I was able to finish it. But I'm so glad I finished it because I'm like literally obsessed with this book too. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. All right. If you do not know, this book follows Peyton, and she is an ordinary in an elite's world. Elites in this world have power, and because of the king and the brainwashing that he has done, he has been able to brainwash and make everybody believe that if there are ordinaries that live in this world, they are able to basically dole down the powers of elites, and elites will end up losing their powers if they keep the ordinaries around. So in comes Kai, who actually kills ordinaries. He is called the Enforcer. He is the king's enforcer, and he kills all those people that are believed to be breaking the law and believed to be ordinaries. Actually, he knows that they're ordinaries, but anyways, at the beginning of this book, Peyton is actually in the town square and she's pickpocketing so that she can survive, and she ends up stealing from the prince. Well, a little bit later, she ends up stealing from Prince Kai. But a little bit later, what she does not expect is that he is going to find himself in quite the predicament, and because she is not an elite, she is not necessarily affected by other people with powers. So she ends up saving Kai's life, and because of that, she gets put in the purging trials, I believe is what it's called. Yes, the purging trials. And what they do is they put a bunch of elites into this, into these trials, and it is a fight to the death. And it is about Kai and Peyton and how even though they're enemies and they should hate each other, they keep being drawn back to each other. And oh my gosh, by the end of this book, I was literally obsessed. I think I came into 2025 with a little under halfway left in this book, and I am so glad that I ended up finishing it. Obviously, I have like the Pretty Waterstones exclusive edition now, so I'm very excited about that. I cannot believe how much I ended up loving this book. Like I said before, I DNF'd it multiple times, and you may be like, well, Makenzie, why did you go back to it? Like, that makes literally no sense. And to that, I would say you're right. Usually I am pretty strong in my conviction to DNF books. However, for some reason, this book would not leave my brain. There is also another book that I basically read the majority of in January that I was not able to finish, that I have the same feelings towards, that for some reason, these books, I just cannot put them down. So I'm very excited to get into Powerful. I did start that in January, but unfortunately I was just unable to complete it. I didn't get very far in at all, but I'm very happy that I finally finished this book and that I really love it, because I think now that I have like the love for the end of the book, I think that I will definitely like the beginning of the book more. I don't know how to explain it, but I do think that I will like it a lot more. So I ended up rating this book 4 stars. It was sitting at a 3-star for the longest time, but when I tell you that the last 50% of this book literally made everything worth it, I literally mean it. I mean, it's so hard. I love this book so much. So much. I'm so happy that I really liked it. So those are the 3 books I read in January. Overall, I'm happy-ish with I'm not really happy that I read Saving Noah, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I am happy that I was able to get to these books and I was able to read them, because all of these books, with the exception of Powerless, I read them very, very quick. So if I would have taken that energy into the rest of January with me, then I think everything would have gone really great reading wise. I am a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to finish at least 2 more books. That 5 6 books seems to be like my sweet spot. If you only read 1 or 2 books this month, that is no slight to you. It's just like, I know that I could have done better and I wish I would have, but I am also trying to be kinder to myself if this happens, because I was in a very bad depression in January, which doesn't typically happen, but I am glad that I got to read all of these books and that I loved all of them. Well, saying that I loved Saving Noah is kind of questionable, but I think you guys get what I mean. So overall, I'm praying that February is a better reading month for me and that I don't have another Saving Noah that will put me into a month-long depression. But all that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Tell me what your favorite book of January down below was. Obviously, mine was Insatiable. And I would argue that Powerless is technically above Saving Noah, but obviously rating-wise, that's not how it goes. But yeah, and let me know how many books you guys read during January. I'm very happy that I got like a 4, a 5, and a 6-star read this month. That is better than I could have ever imagined. So I'm hoping to bring this good stuff. I'm hoping to bring the good vibes into the rest of the year. And yeah, with all that being said, we ended this far into the video and you like me and you like my face, you should hit the like video. If you want to see my face again, you should hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time I post a new video, honestly, I'd follow me on Instagram. That is where you are going to get all the first updates as to when I post. But if you don't have an Instagram, cross your fingers, hope that the bell notification button works. And all that being said, I will talk to you all in my next video very soon. Bye everyone.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do. When